many of the faction leaders were available. Yaya Thomas Bimle, who is now senator, was the Secretary General chosen by the group, and he drafted a resolution that we prepared and took to the Council of Churches and delivered. That we after peace, we don't want any trouble. We have lived being at peace for so many years. And we submitted our resolution. That's why you hear me speaking all the time. But I'm not afraid. And besides that, the call for the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Code have been based solely and wholly on the recommendations of the TRC recommendations. The recommendations made by the TRC. Now, what are recommendations? First thing, recommendations are not binding. They are not laws that are binding. So for people to be clamoring that it must be fully implemented, it must be enforced, is a sad mistake. It's speaking of the ignorant. Because recommendations are, one, advice, suggestion, counsel, or opinion. They are not binding. They are subject to legal scrutinization. The person to whom the recommendations are made need to verify whether those recommendations are in conformity with the Constitution or with the very act that established it. So when the calls were on and measures were taken to prevent certain people from taking part in government in 2010, about that time, the certain group of people went to the court. Even Prabu, who was one of the commissioners, also went to the court. Councillor Vani Sharma represented the Unity Party and went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled against the recommendations that it was not enforceable because it had too many constitutional breaches. And so, having said this, I gave you a few copies of the Supreme Court ruling to share among yourself. It's very comprehensive and it gives you the whole detail. So if, as we all know in this country, that Liberia is a country of law, not men, and that the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of justice. If the Supreme Court rule against recommendations that contain biases, and say it is unconstitutional, it is unenforceable, and you in the House of Elders want to enforce it and do something to the contrary, then to me it's a mistake. That's what I've been speaking against. All of the time when you hear me talking against the TRC recommendation, because it for the flaws. Speaking from the Supreme Court perspective, because all of us in this place, we have the ruling. So I gave you copies for distribution, and that is why I've been speaking. Today, resolutions were brought on the floor. You all were there. It was sent from the lower house. Nimba County that I represent is a county. It's not an individual. So bring the resolution to the county seat or office to either reject putting signature or accept to fix the signature of whoever represents the county. They did not do that. They did it like a conspiratorial maneuvers, which are considered to be. That's why in the present, when all of the counties are signed through their senators, I had to ask the president, where is Nima? Why you did not bring it to us to accept it by signing or to reject it by not signing? Why did you leave the Nima County out? In fact, there were 3 committees that are supposed to have reviewed the resolutions from the lower house. The Internal Affairs Committee, of which I am a chair, the Judiciary Committee, and the Security Committee. But when the 3 committees were named by one of the senators to be, when the Internal Affairs Committee was named to be included, the pro tem Yombi Kanga said, no, it shouldn't be included. But the committee had 9 or 10 members. So the committee is not Prince Johnson. So if I had to recuse myself, because the whole thing had to do with me, then what about other people that know and why they couldn't go there? They completely left out the committee that comprised of 9 or 10%. Today again, Yesterday, they started signing secretly in the protest office. And they left out Nimba County. That's what I asked, where is Nimba? I demanded the report to be brought to me. And in your presence, before Esther, I signed. But before fixing my signature, I said, I want to know what happened to the 300 babies from Nimba. Who took them from their mother bosom, brought them to Liberia, Monrovia, and dumped them in a well upside down Duper Road? What happened to our people in the Lutheran Church? About 600 of them. Who entered there and killed them? Who entered the Greystone compound, where you got a new American embassy now, and slaughtered all of our people? Who lay a blockade to JFK and slaughtered all of our people that were on the beaches there? I want to know. But if you want to deal with the recommendation of the TRC to go after those people, that is wrong, because the Supreme Court has ruled. That's what I've been seeing. If you want to bring a war crime court, the best thing to do is to write the United Nations directly, so that the UN can send an investigation team to go all the way again to the counties to find out information about those people who may have committed heinous crime. But it should not be based on the TRC that is bogus. Because the commission divided into two parts, 4 against 3. That is Prayer Boo, that is Dorope, who was the co-chair of Verdia, that is Reverend Dr. Koma, Sheikh Afoma Kone, against Verdia, John Stewart, and Master Washington. And the 4 wrote their dissenting position to the Liberian Senate that the names were crookedly selected and put for prosecution. And so that could not be implemented by the Early Justice League. The prosecutory part of it could not be implemented because people's names were selected by the Verdia group against the other 4. This is where we are. But if you want to deal with the War Crime Court issue by using the recommendations, and that is the best way to go, I would say no. But since all of the countries have signed, let us go ahead and sign. After signing the document today, we are watching to see what will be the outcome. I'm hearing that President Boyka will have to publish an executive order to establish the court and to go after us. We are also here to see that. This is a national security issue, and we want peace in our country to be a matter of continuity. And what is not done properly is not done right at all. That's what I call you.
Yeah. Well, Senator, my name is Yanti from OKFN. Well, basically, the last time we checked, there was this resolution that came from the House of Representatives, make its way to the Senate, and now that the Senate said they are sending this document back to the House of Representatives for concurrence, wherein they've made an amendment. Is it something that probably the Senate is actually proceeding error? And then another thing is that now that you've explained all of this and you went directly to the presiding desk and faced your senator saying, yes, I agree to whatever decision that was reached, what signed onto the document wherein that maybe probably if you were to lay all of this busy, that stating now that maybe perhaps you could not be in support of the establishment of said code in Liberia?
You see, all of my colleagues, this thing is, all of my colleagues signed. In protest office or somewhere behind my back. They didn't present it to me. They make me look so funny and so ugly in the eyes of the Liberian people through the electronic media. So I just signed to let people know I'm not afraid. If you really check my background from the war and as I came to Monrovia, from the bush and came to Monrovia, and if you follow my trace, when I pass, ask people. That's why it requires investigation by a neutral investigation team from the United Nations, not on the basis of the Verdia TRC. So if I don't sign, say, oh, the man is afraid. I have signed. So let Jesse be done, even to the very document. Jesse was not done. This is not the first time the Senate ever received such a communication. The President Joshua, former president, sent a letter to the Senate to advise the executive on the outcome of the TRC. And the very Judiciary Committee came up with a 20-something or 60-something page document or 21 page or something, telling the president where that there were violation of the Constitution by the TRC recommendation. The same committee, the Judiciary Committee, Security Committee, they wrote. So they have come again to do a U-turn. So it's up to them. We are watching to see. We want justice for everybody. Justice for the accused, though I've never been accused. The TRC invited me, invited other people, and said, give a traumatic story, and whatever you will say before the court, as your experience during the war, will not be used against you in the court of law. So is that my explanation that you taking to convict me and putting my name in a report? So be it. But we got to do justice to everybody, to the would-be victim, we don't know where they are, and to the would-be perpetrator. And it's a big job. It's not a small thing. The sponsor of the war, the country that provided the training bases, and those who purchased the weapons and all of those things, the very ECOMO that came to help us to maintain the peace, to restore peace. The peace mandate was automatically changed after 3-4 months to peace enforcer, thereby making them combatant to chase Taylor in all of the country they were entrenched in. So the Duru boy that were dropping cluster bombs and the artillery that was being launched to get Taylor out, sometimes missed target, whatever the situation, we are here to see what will be the outcome.
Obadiah Johnson from Front Page Africa newspaper. Senator, your political party, the MDR, in which you serve as the chairman of its governing council, heavily supported the Unity Party, the government of President Joseph Yuma Boyka. Fixing your signature to this document implies that you are willing to submit yourself to a Royal Crown Court trial. Are you willing to go to trial and to also call big names, especially those who provided you the arms and ammunition?
Yes, I just told you, we support the War Economic Crimes Code, provided if there will be a direct communication to the United Nations to establish the code, first of all, by sending the investigation team to restart. But it should not be based on the TRC recommendations that are contained by the Supreme Court of our country.
Follow up, are you willing to call big names who provided you arms and ammunition as well as training?
Will come up with it.
Okay.
The investigation will come up with it. The local defense force and all who support all will come. We're not afraid of that.
Okay. So, Senator, good afternoon. My name is Haji Masale. I report for Spoon. With you affixing your signature means that you agreed for the establishment of the court. What level of cooperation will you give those judges or the court in terms of calling names? You continue to lay some historical facts that are of state allegation about the Lutheran Church massacre, the Duboro situation. Are you willing to call names and those behind all these massacres?
The investigation or the trial will bring all those things out. What I'm saying to you, and I continue to say, and I stick to my word, my position, is that I sign endorsing War Economic Crime Code. It will depend on whether you want to start afresh by bringing the UN to do a new investigation, or whether you go by the TRC Google report that has been condemned by the Supreme Court, because we will have lawyers. We will have international and local lawyers. And if you're dealing with us on the basis of the TRC recommendation, then the Supreme Court comes in, because the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of justice. Our lawyer could proceed to the court and put in adjournment, because the recommendation you want to implement against us by bringing the court is condemned. You know what I'm saying? It's condemned.
Yeah, Father Senator, do you somehow feel embarrassed or disappointed, betrayed by your colleagues or the ruling establishment as per the action taken today?
No, I don't think I would say they betrayed.
Okay.
The only good reason why many times since I've been here, I'm the longest serving senator, why 15 have gone for election, 2 came back. 15 have gone for election, only 4 came back. That's some of the reasons. Because the deal was there before. They disposed of it before when they made a report to where. Now because Joseph Boyka, the president, has sent something through the speaker, whose wife is Boyka's niece. You see what I'm saying? And so they are doing a new thing again. But what they're doing is not different from what they did before. So I won't say betray. It's just one of those things that caused some of them to be voted out.
So did you manage to establish why the resolution was hastily passed by your colleagues?
The resolution was hastily passed. That's what they adopted to do. I can't question why they did this so quickly. The good thing is that there is a legal ground that I'm speaking from. If you want to bring the World Crown Court on the basis of the recommendations of the TRC, then you look at what is the paper I gave you. Supreme Court, not for me. The Supreme Court condemned the recommendations. It has so many constitutional breaches. And the Supreme Court said it violated the rights of those accused in the TRC report. And it also said the TRC got no power to ban anybody for 30 years because it was never a court. The Supreme Court talked about Article 14.3 of the voluminous TRC book, that the TRC immediately said that the names of people to be prosecuted were not exhausted. If they were not exhausted, why did you leave for so many thousand and then put few people for prosecution? If the labor were not exhausted. So it's selective justice. So, in conclusion, you're calling for your peace through the establishment by means of based upon the Google report from the TRC, if that will bring peace, I have signed. Go and bring your book.
Just to clarify this, you are on record by stating that ex-generals will protect you as it relates to the establishment of the War Crimes Court. You have been quoted by some media institutions. So can you clarify this statement?
Have you heard my voice calling upon ex-combatants?
Ex-generals to stand by you.
Have you heard me calling for ex-combatants to stand by me?
Okay.
To do what?
Okay. Thank you.
To do what? Look, let me tell you something. I am a brave soldier. I came to liberate my people. Nimba will declare enemy of the state. So if I came to free my people in Liberia generally, and I went outside of my rule of engagement and started killing people and raping, though I never raped in my life, if it is proven, after fighting for only 9 months, you know that 14 years of war, I only fought for 9 months and left the country. The war that took place when I left the country, the beer factory was intact. Hotel Africa was intact. The Hydro was intact. LEC was intact. Duga Party was intact. Bush Island was declared safe haven. Broad Street was having live activities when I left this country. The wars after me, after I had left, destroyed these things. So if I came to free my people and I went outside of the rule of engagement, outside the Geneva Convention and war principles, and if they are proven, so be it.
Did you receive an endorsement for the people of Nimba before putting your pen to paper regarding this agreement?
Well, I represent the people. I have told them, they know what I did, they know, because they themselves are grieving over the children that were destroyed. They are grieving over the Lutheran child massacre. But because the amnesty law, Nimba cannot do anything. So they prefer to go back to their grandchildren, to remarry, to live together as Dodi, my brother-in-law. You understand me? So whatever will bring peace to the people of Nimba, it's what we've done. They know what's happening. They know the entire Senate conspired against me. But those who even signed the paper, they cannot be free from economic crime. A lot of them inside for war. Because you fought war doesn't mean you're criminal. Because you fought the war doesn't mean you're criminal. Because I know the group that here, there were 2 groups that came here seeking for war crime code. Okay? The so-called ambassador at large, our woman, she didn't come and represent America. She represents an NGO group called Global Crime. That's the Hassan Bilete group. These are the people who lie on Jibril massacre. They grabbed me in Finland. They came to Liberia and got false witnesses to go to Finland to bear false witnesses against the men in court. They were convicted based upon the first false witnesses for 30 years or so. But when they went to the Supreme Court freed them on lack of evidence. They didn't stop and they went to Agnes Taylor in London, grabbed a woman and jailed her through the police. The same group. After 1 year or so, she freed. Then they didn't stop and they went to Brussels, Martina Johnson. They lied on her. After 2 years, they couldn't collect information to prove the case. She got free too. that the group coming here want to establish war crime code. Will the court be held in the Supreme Court? What will you do with the amnesty law? They were reading the resolution talking about RCC. RCC was ratified after our war. We went to London, Japan. That means Nahal Asana and Wale Duna, who went to Japan. And the meeting was there for about 2 weeks. We came back with a letter, with the document, and domestically ratified here. So Vadia then sent a paper, their report to RCC for our prosecution. And RCC said, no, we got nothing on our docket regarding Liberia, because the war ended, they ratified the RCC document after the war. So we can't retrogress. So it's not retroactive. So that's the situation. So the whole thing is with the Senate. They have already signed, we signed. They go to the president, let him do what he want to do.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator, thank you. So, Senator Prince Johnson of Nima County, they're speaking to the press following the passage of the resolution. My name is Haji Masada. I say thanks for watching.